Hello, good evening, and welcome to this evening's workshop. So, this is the time of year when we're all kind of turning our minds to planning and getting ourselves organised for the year to come. And thankfully, over the last couple of years, I've developed a kind of method of planning out my next 12 weeks, which is absolutely fab. Um, Even if I do say so myself, it's super simple and it just keeps me on track. So I wanted to kind of share exactly what I do. There's also a template which I'll be sharing with you as well. Now, this is a template which is available to all members of your business lounge. So if throughout the training you decide you want access, I can tell you how to get hold of that. So with a quick swig of water, I shall prepare to make a start. So first of all, a quick introduction. In fact, first of all, always checking that I'm actually live. Yes, I do seem to be, so that's always helpful. Okay, so this evening is all about, like I say, 12-week planning. And the reason that 12-week planning is so important, or planning in general. Hey, Deborah, nice to see you. There are a few reasons, and I'm going to go through them because planning is one of those things that I think a lot of people, let's face it, we all know that we should plan. It's one of those, it's kind of one business 101, creating a business plan, having a plan. We all kind of know that that's what we should be doing. However, when it comes down to it, an awful lot of us don't do it. And an awful lot of us, I've come across an awful lot of people who kind of have this sort of, planning just doesn't work for me, or I'm not really a planner, and all of this kind of thing. And at the end of the day, planning is really important when it comes to your business. Whether you're a planner, whether you think it works for you or not, it is important. And I'm going to share a few really good reasons why before we dive in. So, number one, it reduces overwhelm. And I'm talking to you in particular, as always, if you are getting started with your business and if you're in the early stages of your business. And at that point, in particular, that sense of overwhelm can be overwhelming. There is so much to think about. You've got so much kind of content that you're consuming. So many different people telling you to do different things. You're not quite sure what you're doing yet. You haven't really got your confidence yet. You perhaps haven't even got your first sale or first client to give you that kind of sense that you're doing something right yet. It can be incredibly overwhelming, and having a plan in place drastically reduces that level of overwhelm because it essentially gives you a roadmap. It tells you, where you're going, which direction you want to be heading in, and how you're going to get there. And that having that is a huge benefit when it comes to reducing that sense of overwhelm. The second big benefit of having a plan is reducing shiny object syndrome, as I'm sure you've heard that term before. It's all over the internet in the world, in the online business world. And again, this is also rife, especially when you're just getting started with the business. And shiny object syndrome is essentially that kind of way we get distracted by a new project, a new idea, perhaps a new tool, a new piece of technology, a new course, someone new to follow online, some new blog to read. It's all over the place. 1 minute you're doing something, you're working on a particular project, and the next minute, without even noticing or thinking about it, suddenly you're doing something completely different and you've gone off track. Now, having that plan, again, I'm going to refer to it as a roadmap throughout this evening's workshop, because essentially that's what it is. And having that roadmap in place keeps you on track. It keeps you going in the right direction, and it pulls you back from that shiny object syndrome. So another really key benefit. In general, it makes you more productive, because when you have a plan, you're able to identify the key tasks which are key to that plan and which are instrumental in helping you achieve that plan. And you're able to get rid of any of the tasks which aren't. And without that plan, you end up just doing 100 tasks to keep busy, and you have that sense of being busy, but you're not necessarily being productive. So having that roadmap, having that plan keeps you productive, keeps you only working on activities which are taking you towards your goals, which essentially is what being productive is. Pardon me. Now, a 12-week plan in particular. So another great question is, why a 12-week plan over, say, for example, an annual plan? A 12-week plan, and this is actually something which came from a guy called Michael Hyatt, who wrote a book called The 12-Year Plan, which is brilliant, by the way. And his argument is, and I absolutely agree with this, is that it gives you that sense of urgency, because a year is a very, very long time. So you can set annual goals, but until you get just before the end of the year, so for example, now, you don't really feel any sense of urgency to achieve them, because it feels like you have such a long time. So if you're off track, if you're not really kind of getting towards your goals throughout most of the year, you're not really that bothered, because you've still got the year to do it. Whereas when you have a 12-week plan, immediately you have a much shorter time period. So it keeps you more focused, it gives you that sense of urgency, and it keeps you moving forward. Let me know if that makes sense. I hope it does. And then finally, another key benefit of having a plan is it allows you to identify any kind of potential challenges and problems up front, so that you can be aware of them, you can look out for them, and you can potentially put things in place to avoid them altogether. And without a plan, that process doesn't happen, and so you suddenly hit an obstacle and you don't know what to do about it, and you get stuck. So the plan helps you avoid a lot of those obstacles and find a way around them, so that you have fewer times when you feel completely stuck, which is always nice. So that's why planning is so important. So with that, let's get into the good stuff. So I'm going to share my screen, and you will see the template that I use for my own planning. And like I say, this template is available to all members of your business lounge. Deborah, if you haven't seen this before, I think you have, or you don't know where to find it, let me know and I can point you in the right direction. So let me share my screen and minimize myself, and then I'm going to head into that template. So hopefully you can now see my screen, and you'll see that there's sort of tabs along the bottom here. I'm just going to move this out of the way. There we go. Right, so we're going to start off with annual revenue planning. The easiest way I have ever found to plan is to start at the end. So start with your goals in mind and work back from there. And with business, generally speaking, the number one goal that you want to focus on is your revenue goal, because ultimately that's what your business is all about. It's about making money. Okay, so you're going to start by creating an annual revenue goal. Now, this goal, I will start off by saying, the goal that you're setting here is the amount of money that you would like to earn, in the following year. So let's say from January to December 2019. This is not supposed to be a measure of success or failure. So this isn't you kind of thinking, well, what's going to be realistic? What's, I'm not earning much at the moment, so it's probably not very realistic to hope for too much and all of this kind of stuff. That's not what this is about. What this is about is setting a kind of mile stick for you, setting something for you to aim at, and something that's going to inspire you. This should be a figure that inspires you, that excites you. Whether you hit this figure is almost completely irrelevant, because it's not there. What I don't want you to do is attach some sense of success or failure to it. So, if I don't hit this goal, I'm somehow a failure, because that's completely not true. Essentially what you're doing is you're picking a figure to aim at, and that figure is going to inspire you to keep going, inspire you to stay on track, and give you the kind of motivation that you need on the days when you're not feeling motivated. That is the point of this revenue goal. I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions along the way, give me a shout. Now, because my maths is not good at all, I'm going to stick with nice, simple figures here, and easily calculated ones. So I'm going to go with an annual revenue goal, as an example, of £120,000. Okay. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to break that revenue goal down by month, essentially, and by quarter. So you can start to kind of identify how you're going to earn that goal and what, in what months. So, for example, you might decide that actually by quarter 4 your business will be more developed, and so actually probably in the final quarter your monthly income will be greater than in the first quarter. So let's say, for example, in quarter 2 and 3 you're going to earn £30,000. So basically a quarter of your income each quarter, so that would be 10,000 a month across quarter 2 and quarter 3. And then you might decide that actually by quarter 4 you're probably going to have been able to increase that to 15,000 a month. Okay, so let's do that. My maths is so shocking. So what I've got here then is, yes, so that leaves us with 15,000 left, so 5,000 per month. There we go, for the first quarter. Okay, let me know if any of this isn't making sense. Okay, so there we go. Our annual revenue broken down into months and quarters there. So that gives you, again, it gives you something to aim for. It helps make what you're doing seem a bit more tangible. Now, I'm just going to check because I can't see the comments while I'm in the screen. So I'm just going to, once in a while, come and just check back. Yes, Deborah, you have that. Brilliant. That's great. Okay, so let's go back into it. Right, so now we've got our revenue goals. The next thing that we're going to look at is your sales strategy. Now, this can be any number of things, but by doing this, it allows you to stay focused. So what a lot of people end up doing is having, multiple sales strategies all going on at once, but never really kind of properly doing any of them. And multiple sales strategies are all well and good once you've got an established business and you've got resources, you've perhaps got a team to help you, work through them. But actually, when you're just getting started, when it's just you, when your budget isn't that big, then focusing on one key strategy is your best bet, because it keeps things simple, it doesn't overwhelm you, but also it keeps you focused. And if you focus on one thing instead of 10, you will move much further forward with that one thing than you will if you're trying to do 10 things at once. It just makes sense. So we're going to focus on just one sales strategy. Now, what do I mean by sales strategy? So it will depend on what you want to do for your business. So, for example, the sales strategy that I'm using at the moment is a webinar. So every couple of weeks to a month, I go and I host a live workshop. And so throughout the month or throughout the couple of weeks before that, I'm promoting that workshop and I'm getting people to register for it. I provide, value during the workshop, and then at the end of it, I promote my membership, Your Business Lounge, and that's how I sell it. That's my kind of key sales strategy at the moment. If you're a coach, so for selling kind of coaching, one-to-one or group coaching, then discovery calls will generally be the sales strategy that you use. Okay, another great sales strategy are challenges. And so, for example, you invite people to sign up for a challenge, and then at the end of it or during it, you talk about, what would be the next step to get more information, and that be your product or service, whether that be coaching, courses, membership, whatever it may be. I hope this is making sense. If you're watching this and you can't kind of translate what I'm saying to be applicable to your own business, do let me know and I'll happily chat to you and help you with that. So that's what I mean by sales strategy. So first of all, you need to decide what it is that you're selling to actually make this revenue. So that's your offer. So let's say I'm going to use the example of a coach because, Deborah, I know that you sell coaching, and so let's use coaching as an example. So, for example, let's say my offer is coaching. okay? And again, for the sake of simple maths, I'm going to say that each a month's worth of coaching is £500, okay? So in order, so let's put £500 here, okay? And I'm going to use discovery calls to sell that coaching. And in order to hit my revenue target for quarter one of £15,000, I am going to need to sell 30. Yeah, all makes sense? Okay, and then you basically follow the same. I'm not going to do that now, just in the interests of time, because I don't want to keep you here all night. But you then follow the same for each quarter. Now you might be selling the same thing all through the year, or you might have different products or services, and you might decide, okay, well, in quarter one, I'm just going to focus on getting my coaching practice full. But in quarter two, I'm planning on launching perhaps a group coaching or a membership or a course or whatever it may be. And so it may be that you have different offers in each quarter. The reason I've broken it down by quarter is because personally, I think if you try and switch your offers around any more often than that, again, you kind of water it down, you lose the impetus. It takes a good quarter to kind of really get some momentum going. Okay, so that's why it's broken into quarters, but also because that's our 12 weeks. Okay, so that's our sales strategy. Okay, hope that makes sense. I'm just going to come and check back to make sure it does. Hey, everyone watching live, do give me a hello, give me a wave. I know some of you have just joined and may have missed the start. So we haven't got too far in, but anything you have missed, of course, you can go back and just catch the beginning again with the replay. So this is our revenue goals. This is our sales strategy, and you can continue doing that for each quarter. Okay, I'm now going to move on to focusing specifically on quarter one. So I've gone on to the next tab of this template. And for those of you who've just joined, this template is available to all members of your business lounge. So if you would like to get a copy, then let me know and I can tell you how to get hold of that. It's very simple. I've just created some formulas and what have you. Now you'll see the figures that we've entered over on this tab have pre-filled over here so that we know for quarter one, we said each month our revenue target is £5,000. That's pre-filled across from the other tab that we've completed. And this is also pre-filled from what we put in on the other tab as well. So our offer is going to be coaching. Our price £500 per package. And we're going to be selling it through discovery calls, and we need 30 in order to hit our goal. Okay, all makes sense? Now, let's look over here. So over here, this is where we get into the kind of marketing side of things. Okay, so what we're going to do is we can see it's broken down by month. And what we're saying here is that in order to make those sales that we've talked about, so we want 30 units over the course of 3 months. So let's say that's 10 sales per month. Okay, and then you can see that's then populated these two fields here, which are leads and audience. So basically what this means is in order to make those 10 sales, to get 10 new coaching clients, we need to generate, or we need to have 40 discovery calls. Now, these are kind of percentage rates are sort of just general that I've put as a starting point. As you start to do this, you will be able to adjust those rates according to what your actual results are showing you. But this gives you a good benchmark to start off with. So you can roughly aim for, okay, I need to be booking in month one around 40 discovery calls in order to get my 10 clients. Now, in order to book 40 discovery calls, I need to put that offer of a discovery call in front of 400 people over the course of month one. Is this making sense? So your audience who actually see that opportunity needs to be around 400 people in order for you to then book 40 discovery calls and then make 10 sales. I hope this is making sense. Again, let me know if not. And you would then again repeat that process for months 2 and month 3, depending on how many sales you plan or are aiming to make each of those months. Okay, I hope this is making sense. I'm just going to keep checking back for comments just in case it's not. Yeah, I think we're all okay. Okay, right, so let me head back. So then we need to look at actually how are we going to generate this audience? How are we going to get in front of 400 people? And how are we going to then book 40 discovery calls? Okay, now this is where you get into the content marketing side of things. So with any online business, the way you build an audience is through content marketing. And I'm sure you've heard me talk about this before. So essentially content marketing is creating free content that is going to appeal to and attract your ideal clients. It could be through blogging, it could be through podcasting, it could be through videos, however you choose to do it and however you feel that your ideal clients are going to respond the most. So that's how you build an audience essentially online, is through that content which you then promote through social media and so on. So what you then want to do is kind of say, okay, so in month 1, I need to attract, I need to build an audience of 400 people. I need to get in front of 400 people. What content am I going to create? And so this is where you start to break it down. So let's use our example of a coach. Let's say this is a coach for women who want to improve their health. So kind of a health and wellness coach, let's say. So in month 1, I'm going to create content around morning routines. Okay. In month 2, and what you're doing here is you're identifying some key topics in your industry that you're going to talk about, that you're going to create content around, that's going to attract your ideal clients and get those people, those eyes on your business. Okay, so month 2, I'm going to create content around healthy eating. And month 3, I'm going to create content around exercise. Okay, so it's super general here, but this is you get the idea. Okay, then you plan out your content channels. So as I said, for content marketing, your key content channels will generally be either blogging, podcasting, or video. If you are just getting started with your business, I definitely don't recommend that you try and do more than one of those things at a time. So pick one for now. As your business grows, as your resources grow, as you are able to build a team, you can then, do more than one of those things. But for now, I would absolutely recommend just picking one, because otherwise, again, you get overwhelmed, you're unable to keep up, you lose consistency, and none of it's good. So pick one of those things. Probably for each month, it will be the same thing. So let's say, for example, blogging. Okay. Now, once you've got in front of those 400 people with your content that you're then promoting on social media and so on, you then want to take people to the next step. You want to generate a lead. And now in this instance, that's going to be booking a discovery call. Yeah. So you then have to decide what your lead magnet is going to be. Now, again, this will differ depending on your business. So your coach, now you could have your discovery call as a lead magnet. You could get people to sign up. So a lead magnet, in case you're not sure what that is a way to get people onto your email list. That's the most common way that lead magnet is used, and that's the most common form of lead. It's basically someone who's on your email list, because once they're on your email list, you're able to easily contact them and you're able to easily kind of put your offers in front of them. So that's generally what we're talking about here. It doesn't have to mean an email list. So it could be that you're just getting them straight onto a discovery call. It could be that you're using something, perhaps a free checklist, your morning routine checklist that people will get if they book a discovery call. But generally speaking, you will use an email list. And so you'll create your morning routine checklist. People will sign up for it get an email from you, at which point, you know, they'll see your checklist, they'll love your checklist, and then you can invite them for a discovery call. And what you're doing is you're taking them on steps of the journey. I'm digressing from planning and moving it more into kind of marketing strategy here, but I just wanted to explain why this is laid out the way it is and how you can work out what your lead magnets are and so on. So let's say, for example, here that our coach has created a checklist, and that is how they're going to get people on their email list, and who they can then invite to a discovery call. Is this all making sense? Let me just see if we've got any questions. If you're confused or getting stuck, do let me know. If you've got any questions, no questions are too silly. Okay, I don't see any questions. That's great. Okay, so let's head back. So, and again, you do the same for each month, and it might be that you only have one lead magnet for for each of those 3 months, and that's fine too. It's worth mentioning that 2 great sales strategies are webinars, so the live workshops, or challenges. And the reason that these are great is because they also act as lead magnets. So if you are doing a live webinar, you can sell through the webinar. So you host your training, and then at the end of it you promote your product, so you're making your sales. So it is a sales strategy, but you also are getting people to sign up and register for the training, so you're also getting them onto your email list. So in that instance, you would have your webinar here as a lead magnet as well as a sales strategy. And the same is true for a challenge, because you can use a challenge to sell. You offer value through the challenge, and as part of the challenge, you tell people how they can, take the next step by buying your product or service. So it is a sales strategy, but it's also a lead magnet, because people register to take part in the challenge and join your email list in doing so. I hope that makes sense. So I just wanted to highlight that those 2, and that there might be more, but those are the 2 that sort of often come to mind and that you often see people using, are really, really great sales strategies to use, especially when you're starting out. So that could definitely be something to consider if you're struggling to know which to choose. Okay, let's move. Oh, just to explain, this tab is just in case at any point during the year you want to offer some kind of special promotion. Perhaps you're just launching a new product and you want to have a founding member promotion, or a beta test promotion, or a Christmas promotion. If you're doing anything in particular, you can just jot those things down here, and it just sort of helps you to remember. Okay, so that's quarter 1 pretty much sussed out. Now we're going to dive deeper into just month 1. And you can see what we're doing is we're sort of starting out with that big picture, those annual revenue goals, and then gradually we're getting more and more kind of focused in. So we've gone now from annual to quarter 1 to month 1 of quarter 1. Okay, and what that does, it just helps it get a little less overwhelming. So now we're just focusing on month 1, and what you're going to do is you're going to break down those sales and marketing strategies that you've kind of plotted out here into separate projects. And again, this helps just to kind of make things nice and easy to plan out. So you can see here we've got a nice little template, and your content. So let's say we're doing, I've said we're going to do blogging, and we're going to do discovery calls. So one project might be just content creation. Okay. One project might be kind of tech, getting your discovery calls, because you're going to need if you haven't already got this set up, you're perhaps going to need to sort out your appointments, get a calendar that people can book appointments on, and all of that kind of stuff. So perhaps you might have tech as one of your projects. What else might you have? The discovery calls themselves. So you'll need to plan. You'll need to plan your calls. You might have work that you are doing after each call. Perhaps you agree to send out a summary of the call. You want to follow up with the person to see if they are interested. If they haven't purchased on the call, you might want to plan a follow up, and so on. And again, what these projects are will depend on your business. If you do want more kind of personal help with filling this out for your business, that is available inside your business lounge. And if you'd like more information on that, just give me a shout and I'll happily chat to you about it. So once you've got your projects, and you'll probably have more than 3, but again, for the sake of time, I'll just keep it simple here. So we're blogging. Let's say we're going to blog once a week. So for month 1, we're going to need to, and what you're doing here is now breaking down each project into all the tasks. And this is a bit of a kind of brain dump, because essentially all you're doing at the moment is thinking about everything that you could possibly need to do in order to get these projects done. So you're going to need to, let's say, plan 4 blog posts. You're going to need to write 4 blog posts. You're going to need to create images for the blog posts. You might need to schedule social media posts to promote the blog posts, and so on and so forth. Okay. And then for your tech, it might be research, scheduling, calendars, create booking page, and so on. Okay. For your discovery calls, you might have create a template to follow during calls. You might have create a follow-up email template for each call, and so on and so forth. And you will literally here list out anything you can possibly think of for every project that you will need to do in order to achieve what's here. Okay. Perhaps you need to create your lead magnet. Perhaps another one might be email, and so it would be create my checklist. We've said we're going to create a morning routine checklist. Create checklist. Set up welcome series for people who sign up for the checklist, and so on and so forth, and so it goes on. So you want to have everything in place here, all the projects that you will need in order to complete what it is that you're doing in your sales and marketing strategies. I hope this is making sense. I'm just going to check back to see if we have any questions. Hey Jennifer, okay, so hi, how would a handmade crafter do this strategy? My target market is a cat lover. What would I give away as a lead magnet? Okay, so, hey Wendy, nice to see you. So for you, if you're selling, you're selling handmade crafts, am I right, related to cats? So you, to get people on your lead magnet, to get people on you might want to give away perhaps a voucher or a discount or something like that. So perhaps a 10% discount on your first purchase. That could make quite a good lead magnet. And a sales strategy for you. So it's so if you're wanting to showcase your crafts, there's a number of things that you could do. Yes, felt cats. Okay, so your sales strategy can be kind of less, can be lower impact than some of the stuff that we're talking about now, because most of the sales strategies that I've talked about so far this evening are for kind of higher cost things where it takes more effort, for want of a better word, to make the sale. So for something like coaching, where people are going to be paying out hundreds of pounds, something like a discovery call is necessary because people need that kind of one-to-one. They need to be kind of talked through it. They need to, be taken on a journey. But for something lower cost, assuming your felt cats aren't hundreds of pounds, then your sale. So anything that's, anything fun around cats, or perhaps around crafts, perhaps, that most of your ideal clients are perhaps mums. So it could be, depending on who your ideal clients are, you can create content that's going to be more entertaining, perhaps, and just something fun to get, that's going to lift people's spirits, because essentially that's what you're doing with your craft. It's something to make people happy and to lift people's spirits and to entertain people. And so the content that you create will kind of match that. So you could just create fun content around cats, essentially. It would depend on who your ideal clients are, but that's essentially what you'd be doing. And then to get people onto your email list, you can either offer discounts, or you could just offer, more fun content around cats. You could, or sneak peeks of what you're doing. They get your email, people on your email list get to see your new products first. They get first dibs on anything new that you've created, that kind of stuff. Is that giving you some ideas? Let me know if so. If not, I'll come back to you. Okay. I'm going to dive back into, so that's our projects page. Hopefully that's all making sense. Once you've done your projects, we then move into the calendar. And this is where we get super focused. So literally what you're doing now is in your calendar, you're going to schedule out the key dates. You don't want to be scheduling out particularly everything, or I know I certainly don't. And also we have a schedule over here on the next tab where you can start to do that and get even more details, so that literally you're saying, okay, on this date, this is what I'm going to be working, this is how long I have to work, and this is what I'm going to be doing, and so on. But in your calendar, generally speaking, what I would recommend is just plotting out the key dates that you have. So for example, if you are doing something like blogging, you might want to plot out, on the dates on which you want to publish your blog posts. And again, it just keeps you on track. It helps you remember. It keeps you consistent, and so on. You might also want to plot out, if you are doing live training or challenges or anything like that, your kind of start dates. You might also want to plot out dates when you want to start promoting something like that. So say, for example, you're going to do a live training on the 19th here, on Wednesday the 19th. You might want to give yourself a couple of weeks to kind of promote that. And so you might put yourself a reminder here on the 5th saying, start promoting webinar. And again, it's just those key dates to help keep you on track. I hope that makes sense. So that's your calendar. And then we move into the schedule. And like I say, the schedule is literally where you will plot out every day of the month. Now, depending on how you prefer to work, there's no right or wrong way to do this. I tend to plot out those key dates again here, but then actually only fill out the following week. So I actually come in each week and I fill out the following week, because I tend to not know too far in advance, what hours I've got free on a certain day, and what's going on. People might have booked in coaching calls or whatever, so I don't tend to know exactly what my diary is looking for more than about a week or so in advance. So for me, that works best. But by all means, if you prefer to do it a month or 2 weeks in advance, go for it. But here, essentially what you're doing is you're plotting out the date, how many hours you plan to work that day, because again, it might differ for you depending on what you've got going on each day, and then what you plan to do on that day. And the tasks that you're putting here will be the tasks that you've already put in your project list here. So essentially what you're doing is you're then taking these tasks and you're plotting them, you're actually scheduling them out, so that day to day exactly what you're doing and when you're doing it. And you can pop, if you've got live dates, for example, if you are doing a blog post or whatever, you can put the date that it needs to go live, and so on, and any notes here. So it just helps to keep you on track. And that is it. It's super simple. I hope it came across as simple and not too overwhelming. Jennifer, what about creating a download for free cat calendar? Oh, I love that, with images of your cat products as pictures. Deborah, I love that. That's a fab idea. Great idea, Deborah. Yeah, fab. Okay, does anyone have any questions? So if you do feel free to come back to me with them if they come to you later and you haven't missed your chance. If you would like to know how to get hold of this template, let me know. Essentially, it's available for all members of your business lounge. So I can send you the details to kind of get into the lounge, along with anything else you might want to know about your business lounge. There's tons of stuff going on in there. And that's it. So I hope you found that helpful. Do let me know if you have, because it's nice to know that these things are useful for people. And I shall speak to you soon. Take care.